My wife's best friend and her husband want my blessing to get down and dirty with my wife and make me watch. How the hell do I even respond? I, 37M, have known about this for a long time, but when my wife, 35F, was younger, she had a few three-ways with her best friend and her best friend's husband, who was her then boyfriend at the time. This was years before we even met, and she told me early in our relationship to ensure there were no secrets. I've never had a problem with my wife being around her best friend alone since the three-ways didn't involve much girl-on-girl action but were more about sharing her boyfriend. For that reason, I've had trouble throughout our marriage being around both of them. I just struggle to have a normal conversation knowing that this guy has gotten under the sheets with my wife. My wife doesn't think anything of it and is completely comfortable. It's just something she did for a little while, then stopped because she wasn't into it anymore once the taboo thrill wore off. She can even talk about it with them as casually as she talks about a concert they went to. However, she doesn't do this when I'm around because she knows it makes me uncomfortable. Anyway, we were all together last weekend, and her friend got a little drunk and brought it up. My wife quickly shut her down, but the impression I got was that there had been a lengthier conversation leading up to this that I didn't know about. Later on, my wife told me that her friend and her husband had asked if she and I were interested in doing something. They were down for whatever we were comfortable with, but my wife admitted that they really wanted her again with me watching. My wife knows there is no way in hell I would be down for that, and neither would she. My wife stopped doing that with them for a reason, and that was before she got married and had kids. My wife has told me to just forget they said anything, but holy crap, how can I do that now? I tolerated being around them when these incidents were well in the past, but now that they are openly desiring my wife, I don't know if I feel comfortable with her or me being around them. Am I wrong here? How do I navigate this? I don't want to tell my wife to break off her friendship, but I feel something needs to be done. Edit. Thanks for all the comments. I'm glad I'm not blowing this out of proportion and that my response is normal. For context, I want to add that they were together 3 times, and my wife stopped simply because she wasn't into it anymore. She only participated because her friend was bragging about her boyfriend's skill in the bedroom and insisted that she try it. She did, and she found that no amount of skill could overcome the fact that she wasn't very attracted to him. My wife also really isn't into girls. She participated with her friend, but it was a first and last for her, just not her thing. So I really am not worried about her doing anything with them because she had ample opportunity before we met and she passed. Also, a lot of people are criticizing my wife for not telling me about the conversation, but I'm actually fine with that. She said no for both of us, and I'm not angry at her for that. I'm angry and offended at them for trying to make me watch. It feels like one of their kinks is to humiliate me. This guy wants to do it with my wife, the mother of my children, and look me in the face while he does it. Update 1. After I posted, I had a deeper conversation with my wife about her friends and expressed my discomfort about being around people who are lusting after my wife and fantasizing about doing it with her in front of me. She said she understood how I felt but told me that there was absolutely nothing I should be concerned about. To my wife, her friend and her husband are not serious people. They are fun to be around, but that's it. She experimented with them in her early 20s, but she was a different person then. She was very adventurous in the bedroom in college and right after and did a lot of things she'd never think of doing now. She said she's a 35-year-old married mother of 2 with a serious career, and she simply isn't interested in behaving like that anymore. Not to mention that she is happily married and loves me. While I understood all that and I do trust her, I told her that my point still stands, I am just not comfortable around them. My wife then asked if we could talk it out with her friends and if, after that talk, I'm still uncomfortable, then she will agree to whatever I am comfortable with. So I agreed, and we met last night at our house. They both apologized and swore to never bring it up again. But I could tell that neither thought of this as a big deal, and from their tone, it seemed like they thought I was being overly sensitive. So I raised that point, and they conceded that they did think I was being silly. They told me that the time they had with my wife was a very memorable experience and they wanted to experience it again and simply asked if my wife would be interested in participating with me or with my approval. They said that they would have been happy to allow me to participate in any way I liked but admitted that their biggest fantasy was to double team my wife while I watched. But my wife had no interest, and they confirmed that she shut it down quickly. They brought it up later while they were drunk because they figured maybe I would have some interest, and if I did, I could convince her to do it. My wife's friend then said that once I let go of my inhibitions, she guaranteed that I would enjoy myself. How they think I would enjoy any experience that involves someone else doing my wife, whether I am actively involved or not, is beyond me. I was about to say this when my wife jumped in. She told them that I would not be enjoying anything. She said she's not 22 anymore and has babies asleep upstairs. She told them that neither of us would be smashing with anyone else and she thought she made that very clear. It got a little awkward after that, and they left shortly after. My wife hugged me when they left and said she was sorry for asking me to talk with them. That was not how she expected it to go. We talked a little more, and she admitted that hearing their stories is a fun escape and even got flattered when they would tell her how much they loved being with her. But she admitted that it's become a little too real and she could not stand the thought of watching me with someone else and understands how I feel. So we agreed to take a good long break from seeing them. My wife isn't going to completely cut her best friend out of her life, but we are going to manage how we see them. No more drinking, and no more her alone with both of them in their home or ours. Shopping, lunch, and similar activities are where she is going to keep the friendship, and I can live with that.